I'm just
Hello, we have another author on tonight, and her name is Delanda, and she's going to in McNair, and she is a caregiver and has written what, two, three books maybe, and she's going to tell you about them. I'm not going to read the titles because I don't have them in front of me, but they're absolutely fabulous, and it's sequenced to protecting your child, trauma victims, but it talks about something even bigger, which is how do you forgive and how do you move on? And go ahead before I give the whole story away. We're delighted to have you and tell us all about it.
well, thank you for the invite. And the wow, where do I begin? So the writings are God given. Um, God decided to visit me in my dream, and I did not realize. Not only would it be a message that would be fitting for others, but for me as well. Um, I listened to you ladies talk before about the trauma and the abuse. I did not experience it to that degree, but I have seen touches that were inappropriate as a kid, and these were way older people. But it was the way they did it. It was like, oh, excuse me. But after I got older, I realized, wait a minute, that's what that was.
Mhm.
So the message that you have so perfectly packaged in your writings is so timely and so needed. So thank you for that. As it relates to my writings, the forgiveness element and aspect, um, it gave me in these writings. One of the questions that I ended up asking myself was, when that thing happened or that person said that thing, what was the hardest thing for me to forgive? Was it the person, or was it the act, or was it the comment that was made? Um, because in these writings, I did not realize until well after the fact, when the books were completed, that there were some things that I had not properly forgiven. There were some elements that, as it relates to what my role played in some of those things, that I didn't forgive myself for playing that role. Um, so the writings in the first book, which is Farther Than the Eyes Can See. The message of this book is it's a book about redemption, forgiveness, and love, the love of man and the love of God. And what it does is it takes up this very puffed up situation. And if you are that person, whether you recognize it or you go along with this journey and it comes out in this reading that, oh, I'm a little challenged at forgiving that situation. Um, it opens up the door to allow you to directly, I say self check and have that honest conversation with yourself, because that honest thing, because there again is something that sometimes we neglect to be honest with ourselves. Like there are very few people that we're completely 100% ourselves with, and there's so many different reasons why that is. But when it comes to ourselves, we should absolutely be able to be 100% honest with ourselves and address things with ourselves that need to be addressed. So this book helped me see that about myself. And it also gave me the opportunity to be aware of, sometimes I can't remember which author said it, but sometimes we as individuals really don't grasp completely where we are and why we are there, because of the things that happened to us along the way, whether we were directly connected to it or not, or the person played it off and made it so minimal that we thought it was nothing to pay attention to, but it left a residue on us. It still left fingerprints on us, to the degree that we now see it and still feel it well after the fact. So in that, it gave me the opportunity to realize, again, some of those things that I needed to simply address with myself and be more in tune going forward with my presence, or my what's the word, allowance of something, directly and indirectly. Because sometimes when you see things that doesn't feel right or doesn't sound right, but you just don't say anything, that's you. Okay. And this is just me talking to myself. That's me not properly securing and caring for me and supporting me and safeguarding me. But I'm always, it's always, how can I say it? I should never have to apologize for safeguarding me to try to make sure I don't hurt somebody else's feelings while I'm the one in turn being hurt. So that's what some of the lessons that God allowed me to learn and see when he gave me these writings. And the forgiveness thing is sometimes dependent on the thing that took place or depending on the action, it can be a lifelong thing. But even with that being a lifelong thing, it's still worth, I believe, I'm not saying it's easy, it's still worth you choosing at least to say, I forgive that person. And now I need you, God, to help me figure out how to close that chapter as best I can, to not think about it as much, or to release myself, forgive myself for whatever role I think I may have played, or whatever role I did directly play that may have positioned me to be in that space. So again, the message is about redemption, forgiveness, and love, the love of man and the love of God, and second chances. That there again, sometimes we are challenged at giving ourselves second chances. And we deserve it, because as long as there's life in us, there is room for better. And it takes us at least being willing to do the hard work. It may not be easy, but do the hard work to take the steps to see the better, because it's worth it.
That is beautiful.
Wow, that was
Thank you.
So
amazing.
beautiful.
That's so
Thank you.
beautiful.
Hmm.
Very
That's
good.
precious. Yes,
Very good.
that's awesome.
That
So
is
thank
awesome.
you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, well, I grew up in an environment where I was told forgive and forget. This was
Mm,
something my mother trained me, and because if you don't forgive and you keep it in you, the only person that's unhappy is you, because it's going to take away your peace. And the best thing is to leave the forgiving part to God. And I just like forgive and forget and move on. Um, so that's always been my principle. But I did come into situations where I could not forgive certain people. And so it was funny because Delanda's book arrived when I needed it so desperately, and just to remind me how the importance about it. So thank you for that, and thank you for joining us today. We know how very busy you are. We are doing our authors series. We were with Sharon Linnen Fordham, and you really need to get her books. She's doing a 5-book collection available on Amazon, and she's really opened my eyes about how you can protect your child by just asking questions and giving your child self-confidence. There's a simple remedy that you can fix, and whether you're an uncle, an aunt, a niece, or we have children in our lives, not
Yes.
necessarily only the parents. So this is a
Right.
great book, and it's adult driven. So I think it's simple, and she's put a lot of time on her website. There's audio visuals, there's sound, it's just so creatively put together. So try and get these books. And then we had Blythe, who did a fabulous presentation about trauma. And I
Yeah.
think Delanda really brought it home with forgiveness. So I think
Yes.
this
Yeah.
is really good. So I'm going to
Great.
end the segment and make sure that you get these books. They're on our website. Get these books and improve your life. And I will stop, and then we'll go to our business section because we have Colonel Donna Four and we have Latanya Parks, both veterans. Thank you both for your service. And I know how busy you are. And I will. Linda Thompson, are you there? Are you coming on? All right, so I will stop.